Hello everyone, my name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League. In this video I'll be giving you my Super League Round 11 predictions. So last week was decent, 4 out of 6 is not terrible. Things were going well in the league game until it wasn't really, and that's back-to-back weeks I've been incorrect about Salford. Will I make the same mistake again? We will see. But yeah, overall on the season it's been pretty solid, 75% prediction rate in terms of winners. And I don't think I've got a specific score right just yet. But we'll crack on with the first game this week. So kicking things off in round 11, we have Warrington Wolves versus Kingston Rovers. Starting with league position, Warrington are in second, Hull KR are in fourth. In terms of recent form, Warrington have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games. Hull KR have won 4 in their last 5. And in terms of power rankings right now, I have Warrington in 5th and Kingston Rovers in 2nd. They're the only teams with team lists out at the moment, or at least at time of recording. Matty Ashton and Matt Duffy were both kind of to be confirmed, a little bit unsure, but both have been named in the squad. Whether they'll be in the 17-man squad or 18-man squad, we'll see. Opachik, Batchelor and Minchella were all to be confirmed. They were a little bit, unsure, but they've also all been named. Oliver Gildart has not been named just yet. I think he's maybe got another week or 2 to go. But in terms of the game this week, it would make sense to lean towards Hull KR. It really would, based on their recent performances, not just results, but actual performances, and especially against the calibre of opponents as well, has been really strong. Warrington have had a few moments where they've struggled in periods against Hull FC and for an hour against Leigh. They still look to be a very strong team, and a lot of the times, this fixture, whether it leans one way or the other, when Warrington have been, at the time, clear favourites, Hull KR have competed extremely well. Even at times where Hull KR have been what appear to be the clear favourites, Warrington have then competed extremely well. We saw that earlier on this season. A lot of people were leaning towards Kingston Rovers. There's some periods last season where people weren't too sure about Warrington yet. And then, one of the big ones was the playoffs like a few years back, 21-0 at the Halliwell Jones. So this fixture always throws up decent results, and especially results that you don't expect. But the thing is, I think the typical person would expect a dominant performance from Hull KR, and I'm trying not to be biased here, so I just think the individuals of Warrington are going to make this competitive. There's still too many issues in that team to the point where Kingston Rovers won't punish Warrington. Like, they absolutely will. They'll be, for me, typically Warrington have too many knock-ons, give away too many penalties in the middle of the park, and if you just gift Hull KR decent field position, like, they can earn it themselves. Like, they can fully demolish teams through the middle, but the thing is, Warrington have a proclivity to just gift field position, and if you just allow Hull KR to end up on your own 10-metre line after tackle 2 or 3, they've got plenty of tackles going at you, and if your edges just aren't, on song, you're not jamming at the right time, you're going to have some issues. My main positive in response to that is that Warrington's timing, like the centres and wingers, especially Roderick Ty, their timing on when to jam, especially at Hull FC. I know that they're not a great attacking team, but timing is everything, and they were getting a lot of it right. And as I said in another review video on TikTok, that, the one time that Warrington got the timing wrong, that's when Hull FC scored. And they have been working on defence on the edges. That left side's really strong, and getting Matty Ashton back in there would be huge. The right-hand side, I think, still needs a little bit of work, but if Roderick Ty is over there and his timing is right, you can shut down a lot of stuff that, because Hull KR down that left-hand side are demons, absolute demons. So I think Warrington will gift a lot of decent field position to Kingston Rovers, but I think, so that will mean that Hull KR incur a lot of points. They will earn a lot themselves, but they will be gifted a lot through the middle, and then they'll dominate off the back of that. There'll then be some periods in the game where I think Warrington will put up points. George Williams will have his moments. Josh Drinkwater had a much better performance than we have seen. Coming back in, he's got an actual opportunity to, be there for a long time and not have to worry about that spot, really. And then Matt Duffy will produce moments, and if the edges aren't responding correctly of Kingston Rovers, then Matt Duffy's going to eat up the meters, and yeah, someone's going to punish them at some point. So I think a fairly competitive game is to be had here. But based on just overall performances so far, it is completely fair to lean towards Hull Kingston Rovers. So I'm going to go with Warrington Wolves 20, Hull Kingston Rovers 24. Next up, we have Castleford Tigers taking on St Helens. Started with league position. Castleford sit in 10th. Saints sit in 3rd. In terms of recent form, Castleford have won 2 in their last 5. Saints have won 3 in their last 5, and that's just in Super League only. In terms of power rankings, right now, Castleford are in 10th. Saints are in 3rd. So, Castleford, really, really, really solid over the last couple of weeks. Much more improved performances. St Helens have been really lacklustre. The key thing for me, so I'll just say right off the bat, I am leaning towards St Helens. I don't think that's a ridiculous statement to make. By a somewhat comfortable margin, just because it's more of a gut feeling. I just think Saints have been poor, but they won't be poor every week. And Castleford aren't some incredible outfit. Like, they're improving, but they're not there yet. They're not in the conversation. But I am still very happy for Castleford in the progression that they've made over the last couple of weeks. But here's where I think the scoreline could get interesting. It all depends on the start of the game. That first 5-minute period is so important, because based on the intent that Castleford have shown in the start of some of these games, and the sleepiness, there's just a lack of awareness from St Helens in the early parts of the game, the first 5-10 minutes. That's where Castleford could really establish themselves in this game. Saints have been guilty of kind of falling asleep in the first few minutes. I always get the feeling, based on, who they are as a team and the individuals that they've got, that at some point they will snap out of it and start out the game strong. So I'm kind of assuming that's going to happen, and that will shut down what Castleford will attempt to do early on. I think if they can stop any onslaughts early and take the ball out of Tex Hoy's hands a lot, so if they jam into him and make him have to make quick decisions, like on the back foot, put him under a lot of pressure, you take a lot of sting out of this Castleford team. In terms of the rest of the spine, they've been linking up quite well, and they've been cleaner, gotten the basics down a lot more. Castleford can make this one interesting. But as I said, it's all about the first 5-10 minutes. If Saints aren't ready to go, it will be a competitive game. And the thing is, I'm only backing Castleford to get 12 points, so I'm kind of spoiling the prediction, but the feeling I get is that those 12 points will all come in the first half. I could see Castleford either leading or it being 12-all at half-time, because Saints have been off. Castleford will be on it from the jump, and then second half I kind of see Saints running away with it from that point. Or maybe not just running away with it, but just chipping away in the second half. Because normally, a lot of the times when Saints are put under pressure, you can back them to come back. That's what they say, never write off the Saints. That's because it's kind of true. It's not just like a stereotype. Sometimes stereotypes are what they are because they're true. Some aren't. But with Saints, they're just annoying in that regard. So I'm seeing something like a 12-all at half-time, and then Saints will eventually get a grip, switch on, and then players like Lomax, Wellesby, Darryl Clark will turn it on, and they'll be okay. But I think, as much as this scoreline won't look great on paper, I think Castleford fans will see a very respectable performance at home against Saints. I think they'll come away with it thinking, we're still looking all right. So I'm going to go with Castleford Tigers 12, St Helens 28. Next up, we have Leigh Leopards taking on Salford Red Devils. Starting with league position, Leigh are in 9th, Salford are in 6th. In terms of recent form, Leigh have only won 1 in their last 5 Super League games. Salford have won 4 in their last 5 Super League games. In terms of my current power rankings, I have Leigh in 8th and Salford in 6th. Both these teams are looking pretty strong right now. I have taken Salford to lose in back-to-back weeks, and based on the performances and the teams that they've played, I think it's completely fair to kind of lean towards them this week, especially after the kind of letdown late on for Leigh last time out against Castleford. Also, the fact that Leigh have only won 1 in their last 5 Super League games is atrocious. They have had a few tough games in there, so you got to keep that in mind. But I don't know. I do think there's a high-scoring game to be had, because both teams over the last 5 weeks have conceded a good chunk of points, but they've also put up a good chunk of points, and that's kind of been randomly spread throughout different fixtures. But obviously, the last time these guys played, I think it was 32-22, something like that. So, very high number of points scored. And when I think of these two teams, I think of attack. I don't typically associate Salford with defence, and I don't typically associate Leigh with defence. I just think of two very free-flowing attacking teams with quality individuals that can control games, dominate games, and make things happen from nowhere. Lock and Lamb, Mark Sneed, to name the two key players on both sides. With Leigh having Ipape back in over the last couple of weeks, and Matt Moylan probably settling in a little bit more. I don't think he was great the first few weeks, but he's settled in more over the last month especially. Leigh will look very strong in this game. But just based on recent form, and the fact that Salford have been clinical the last couple of weeks, I'm going to lean towards them. You know, I don't want to make the same mistake 3 times in a row and not back them. Sod's law now, Leigh absolutely dominate, because, you know, that's just my luck with predictions this year. But both teams are really solid. Leigh will make this a contest, and since they've had, you know, that wave of injury problems kind of been and gone at this point, they're starting to find their rhythm. But so are Salford. They're starting to turn things around. So Leigh really need the 2 points, because that gap to the midfield, it's only 5 points, but it can feel like a lot, especially if the teams above you keep winning as well. But Salford, they want to stay part of that group of 6 that's all on 14 points. They want to stay in there. They don't want to let that slip like they did a few weeks back, or like 2 months ago. So, high scoring game, but Salford, they've just been the more clinical team over the last couple of weeks. Leigh, they can punish them if they're not up to it. We saw that against Catalans. But yeah, I just can't bring myself to go against Salford 3 weeks in a row and be shown up 3 weeks in a row. So I'm going to go with Leigh Leopards 22, Salford Red Devils 26. Next up, we have Huddersfield Giants taking on Wigan Warriors. Starting with league position, Huddersfield are in 8th, Wigan are in 1st. In terms of recent form, both have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games. In terms of power rankings, I have Huddersfield in 7th and Wigan still in 1st place. For me, as I referenced in my power rankings video, that I don't really know what Huddersfield Giants team we're going to get week to week. I've got no idea. I don't even think the Giants fans know what Huddersfield team they're going to get. I do think, based on the deficiencies of this Wigan team, if I can speak, based on the deficiencies of this Wigan team, and some of the pretty impressive attacking performances that Huddersfield have put up the last month, 2 months, they will score a good handful of points, and there will be parts of this game, I think sporadically throughout the game, where Huddersfield will show some fight. They will put up points, but overall in all departments, Wigan are just stronger right now. They're more consistent, stronger defensively, stronger in attack, have a better kicking game and sometimes make smarter decisions, and they've got more individuals in their team, basically Field and French, that can create moments from nothing. And we have seen for Huddersfield that they know how to lose momentum very quickly. They can gain it back, because there will be points where they'll earn that momentum, and they will have moments where they dominate against Wigan, but Wigan have the individuals to switch it right back in their favour. And the forward pack right now as well for Wigan is insane. It is on a different level. It's not, you know, dominating week to week, but the thing is, when you've got the individuals that they've got, they can really change the flow and the pace of the game through the middle and allow players like O'Neill and Leeming to really dominate with pace through the middle. And then you've got Field, French and Smith off the back of that, linking up with the players on the edges. And if you give Adam Kieran a bit of space, and the potential of an overlap. You give Jake Wardle a bit of space and the potential of an overlap. They're two very skillful players. If you give them a bit of space, they'll dominate and get the extra field position. But if you get your timing wrong, they've got Abbas Miski and Liam Marshall, who are two rapid players that will potentially find the try line because they know how to do it. So I think Huddersfield, they'll have their moments in this game. They'll put in a respectable performance, I'd like to think. But Wigan, just in all areas, will be too strong. I think we'll see some of the problems that they've got. But I think overall should be fine. So I'm going to go with Huddersfield Giants 16, Wigan Warriors 30. Next up, we have Catalans Dragons taking on Leeds Rhinos, starting with league position. Catalans are in 5th, Leeds are in 7th. In terms of recent form in Super League, both have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games. And for my power rankings, I have Catalans in 4th and Leeds in 9th at the moment. For me, this is very straightforward. Catalans know how to control the game. They know how to keep pressure on teams, keep them pinned back, and not make too many errors in the middle. At home, they've had a few shaky performances, but I think they'll be okay this week, mainly because Leeds in attack are very, very sluggish. They're playing a very flat style the last couple of weeks, and that just does not suit at all. They have some moments where through the middle of the park, there's quick play the ball speed, and they can get some good meters, but then on the last tackle, they have no idea what they want to do. Absolutely zero clue. No idea. And some of the kicks from Matt Frawley over the past few weeks have been shocking, unfortunately. And he's the number 7. He's the guy that you should be fully trusting to control the feel of this game and to put in kicks that pin teams back. And when he's putting out kicks that either just go directly to the fullback or winger, or that go out on the full, or that just basically go nowhere, you can't really put much trust in him. And Brodie Croft has had some kicks where it's just gone straight up in the air. It's not really done much. And some of the kicks from Brodie Croft have actually just gone directly to the fullback or the winger. You know, when teams are on like the opposition's 40, and you just think, right, a chip kick to the corner. There's never enough height on it to actually chase. Like, sometimes they do, but a lot of the times it's just straight to the fullback, and it allows them to get out of that bit of pressure. You could have put them under, but you didn't because you just gave them the ball straight away. As I mentioned in my power rankings video, Leeds do well off the cuff. So if Catalans are jumping out the line very quickly and they escape those tackles or offload the ball for a second phase, Leeds will find ways to score. But overall, I think Catalans will just dominate in all areas. We saw from, especially the first half against Wigan, that they can compete with the best teams in this league. Yes, they kind of threw it all away in the second half, but Catalans are still strong all over. And Abdul, he went through his injury phase, so hopefully he's good for the rest of the season. Hopefully. Should be, close to full fitness, feeling a lot better. And his kicking game can just help Catalans dominate in all areas. I think there are some individuals on the side of Leeds, so Brodie Croft and Lockie Miller will be extremely helpful, but I think they're still missing Harry Newman. He'd be a huge inclusion for whenever he comes back in. But yeah, players like Abdul, Garcia, Morg are all just, very professional, very reliable players. So I think Catalans will be completely fine in this game. So I'm going to go with Catalans Dragons 28, Leeds Rhinos 12. Finally, for this round, we have London Broncos taking on Hull FC. Looking at league position, London are in 12th, Hull FC in 11th. In terms of recent form, both have won 0 in their last 5 Super League games. And for my power rankings, London in 12th, Hull FC in 11th. For me, unfortunately, I think this will be London's best chance. And unless they come up against a team that really starts dropping down the pecking order and has a bunch of key injuries, I think this is their one chance. One opportunity to seize everything they ever wanted. Marshall Mathers. I think this is it. I think this is their one chance to get points on the board in the ladder. My only advice, as someone who's not a coach, but of course take my advice as gospel, is get weird. Do some weird stuff. It's a difficult balance because I'm also about to suggest something that's like a slight contradiction, is complete. Like, make sure you complete sets. Like, if the plan is to just put in your runs and your tackles and then kick, make sure you complete them. Don't give Hull easy position in the middle of the park, because they've got some big forwards that can really dominate and wear you down. Make sure you're completing, because Hull FC are not without their issues. We saw against Warrington that they know how to drop the ball, they know how to misplace some passes. With Jake Truman in there, probably going to be less likely because he's going to be, really clinical. But just get weird. So if you plan to go at them, do it early in the tackle count, deep into your own half. 10-metre line, first tackle, second tackle, just go for it. Spread the ball and go at them. Have that intent. But if you fully plan to just see out the set, just make sure you complete those sets and put in an effective kick. Make sure the chase is good. For me, if London stand a chance here, it's just get the basics right. When you plan to just do the basic stuff, get it right. And then, when Hull FC are a little bit tired or not expecting stuff, get weird. Get very, very weird. The only reason why I'm less confident than maybe I would have been a few weeks back in a London victory here is because there's at least a different energy to Hull FC. They're still poor in attack and poor in defence. Their execution has been shocking. A lot of the times they don't really know what they want to do. The two key things for me, Jake Truman being one, and two is just the energy. They have a different energy. Simon Grix isn't, he's not an elite coach. This is a good, training period for him to learn and develop. But yeah, there just feels like there's at least a different energy, and London is still a poor defensive team. In attack, we've not seen a single game from them to suggest that they are, a team that we should worry about. But I think this is their one chance. But Hull FC, just with their energy, and Jake Truman will be the difference maker in this one. I think it'll be a fairly low-scoring game, relatively to the rest of the games this week. But yeah, I'm going to go with London Broncos 10, Hull FC 18. So that's going to be it for my Super League Round 11 predictions. In terms of winners' confidence, I'm at about 85%. I think there's a few games that could be shaken up this week. Warrington could pull out a victory against Kingston Rovers for one. Leigh could end up beating Salford, and, as I said, Sod's Law. I've gone against Salford the last 2 weeks. I suddenly go for them, and then they get battered by Leigh, about 50-0. I think there's a world in which Huddersfield could maybe shock Wigan if, Huddersfield have one of their good days and Wigan have had one of their bad days. But that's about it. Maybe London. So 85%, I'm mostly confident, but I think there's a few that could kind of be thrown up there and be some shock results. I'm not expecting any. We never do, but there have certainly been some. But yeah, if you have your own predictions, do let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.